All right, guys, welcome to the video. Anthony here from Special Analysis, going to dive into my approach to the market. I shoot these videos not to talk about myself. I'm the last person I want to talk about, but simply to share with you kind of the way I approach the market from a very traditional standpoint. As far as analysis goes, I've been doing this 13 years, maybe a little longer at this point. I like to look at the market from a perspective of volume, price action, order flow. I feel like all the ways I've looked at the market over the years, that has always produced the most consistent analysis, interpretation, and expectations, because at the end of the day, that's what I provide, right? Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the market's going to do what we analyze it, interpret it, or expect it to do. It just means that based on the evidence that the market provides at a given point in time, that from what that evidence has provided previously based on experience, those are the scenarios that could potentially play out. I always encourage each of my traders that join me live every day, you need to have a trade plan that works for you. You need to stick to that trade plan that works for you. You have to follow your rules, your discipline. And whether you choose to use the analysis, interpretation, or expectations really fits whether it fits into your trade plan, right? Like, it's got to check your boxes, right? I'm not here to tell you where to buy or sell. I'm not here to tell you how much to risk. I'm not telling you, I can't dictate to you what to do, right? Legally, I cannot, nor do I have any desire to. My ultimate goal is to provide the service I provide: analysis, interpretation, expectations. What you do with that is ultimately up to you. I have taken many folks who have never traded a day in their life and turned them profitable in a fairly short period of time. I've also worked with many clients who can't develop a trade plan, can't follow any consistency or discipline, and no matter how accurate my analysis, interpretation, and expectations are, they can't seem to be profitable over time. Again, I'm here to do what I commit to doing, and in hopes that it helps folks build experience, because the analytical piece is in fact a component that is required to build some consistency, because you can't have a trade plan without really understanding kind of what the market's doing. Yes, there's a psychological aspect. Yes, there's an emotional aspect. Yes, there's a financial aspect, but also there is a technical aspect. So my goal is, through my experience, to help my clients and traders accelerate their career, and perhaps see the market through a little bit of a different light that they may not necessarily be accustomed to. Again, I've kind of I've learned a very classic way of interpreting price action. I studied the chartered market technician courses. I've learned from CTAs. I've learned from folks who, have really perfected the understanding of volume and price action. Some really great people. Okay, I've studied their habits and I've accustomed them to what works for me, right? And ultimately, for each one of you, you need to take bits and pieces from somebody who's perfected what you desire to perfect, and then put that puzzle together and make it work for you. So we're going to look at light sweet crude oil in this video. I'm going to talk about the trade I placed this morning. I'm also going to talk about the analysis, interpretation, and expectations I provided live today to my clients, so that you have kind of a whole picture. Myself, personally, if I come to the market early and I see an opportunity and it checks all my boxes, I'm normally pretty comfortable taking it. And the reason for that is, once I'm engaged with my clients, I'm focused on 4 markets, I'm focused on 4 different order flows, I'm focused on answering questions, making sure everybody gets what they need from me, right? That's what I've committed to do. So if there's an opportunity, it's not to say that I don't trade during the session, but if there's an opportunity beforehand, I'm normally pretty prone to take it. Because if I can knock out one winning trade before I even start and finish my cup of coffee and start my session, I'm a happy camper, and I can carry out my day without really too many worries beyond that. Also today, I did know I had to step out of the office basically right after the session, so I wasn't willing to take any trades later in the morning that could have carried over. Meaning could have transpired over a longer period of time. I just want to be cash when I leave the office. So let me tell you what I did this morning. First, came to the market pretty early. You can see we had some choppiness here. We kept finding support at the VWAP. Now, we also were placing lower highs after this failed attempt to go higher. You can see we had some pretty ramped up volume that came in here, and pretty strong reversal over here. So I knew we probably had some pretty good support in this area. But I also saw as we were kind of coming back into these prior highs that there was a lot of absorption transpiring, and I could see that happening on the order flow. So, I wasn't present for this push higher. Not that I probably would have taken it. There was no evidence here that really stood out to me. I just drew a simple trend line off of this high and this high. So when this push happened, right at this level, very specifically, 78.03, there was very clear absorption that could be seen on the order flow. And I don't necessarily like to act while the candle's open, because that can obviously change, right? So I saw very, very clear absorption, and I said, well, I don't want to chase the trade, but if we were to come back to this area and fall unsuccessful in pushing back through this high, this wick here, I'm probably only going to take a really small risk, right? My desired entry is 78.03. The high of that candle is 78.06. I got to give it a little breathing room. So, I'm not risking 10 ticks here, right? I'm probably only risking, 2 ticks above this. I just literally threw the stop right there. And I was like, all right, listen, if I'm right, we're going to push back to the VWAP. If I'm wrong, I'm going to get stopped out pretty quickly, and that'll be that. But as you can see, price did push its way back up, basically right to where I was looking to get filled, 78.04, and we were unsuccessful in going higher. Retested this downward trend line, retested that prior strong absorption, and you can see we just very quickly, very aggressively plummeted right back into the VWAP. So it was quick, it was short, it was over, right? I mean, it was done. I was just like, okay, give me. I took profit off at the rolling VWAP, right? Just about 20 ticks, and I took some more off at the fixed VWAP, or the session VWAP, I should say, another 25 ticks, and I left just a few contracts in case we pushed this low, which we ultimately did not. And that's okay. So those contracts got stopped out very slightly in the profit. But the lion's share of my trade got filled very, very quickly. Taking 20 ticks profit with risking, 5 or 6 ticks to me, it's 3-1. High probability, low risk, got a fairly good read on the market, respecting this trend line, retesting absorption. Felt pretty confident about it. If I was wrong, I was wrong, right? Like, that's something that we all have to live with when we trade. We're going to be wrong more often than not. Our risk has to be significantly smaller than our gains. Why? Because we can be wrong more than 50% of the time and still be profitable. So, it's risking here like 6 ticks, and I was taking profit into about 19 ticks. So just about a 3-1. So pretty content with that. That worked out really well. And again, I knew I was stepping out of the office later today, so I didn't want to commit to opening any other positions. I took my trade. I made a little bit of money. I was very, very content. And I like going into the weekend clean, okay? I mean, I'm not going to lie about that. I do genuinely enjoy going into the weekend not taking a losing trade on a Friday, because you think about it all weekend, right? And then you come back and, it's taken a lot of years to kind of beat that emotion and that psychological revenge aspect, out of my personality, with the market, because you're never going to win against the market. Like, let's face it, like either you have an edge and that edge is your trade plan, or you don't have an edge and the market's going to take you for everything you're worth. It's one or the other, right? But you have to employ that edge with a great deal of consistency and discipline. So that was the trade I personally took this morning, right? We did talk crude oil in the live session, both long and short. A push through the prior high should take us into 20, followed by 65. We got to 62, and I want you to notice the ultra high selling volume that came in, and there was a extraordinarily large amount of volume transacted, very specifically in the wick at 58.57, and on the 3-minute candles, this did plot a wide bar. So I was fairly confident that this was going to roll over. I said, hey guys, we fell a few ticks short here, but this doesn't look super strong. Okay, and ultimately we did roll back over, right? And that happens, but you know, it is what it is. Now, was there really a great spot to get into this trade? No, there really wasn't, right? Like there was just this huge push followed by a huge push, and that was what it was. Now, was that the most ideal trade? No, it wasn't. Did I have a fairly good read on it? Yeah, I think I did. But I also had a fairly good read here that it looked like we were probably going to roll back over based on the candle that printed on the 5-minute, the 3-minute, based on the volume and the ultra high volume dot that printed down here as well on the Hawkeye software. So that was that. Now, fast forward, a little bit of time goes by, get through the opening bell, get through some 9:45 Philly Fed manufacturing numbers, whatever they were. And we come into shortly after 10 o'clock, and I'm watching crude now sitting at this little interior low that we kept bouncing off of at the VWAPs. And I'm sitting here and I'm seeing some absorption transpiring right here in these 2 candle wicks. So I, again, publicly made the statement, hey, if we push the lows here and we can continue lower, my anticipations would take me into 77.35, 77.20, 77.10, and the next big gap would take us towards 76.60. Okay, so if we flush through 77.10, the next push, based on higher time frame analysis, would take us into 76.60. So the low of this candle comes in at 76.67. So that fell about 7 ticks short of what the higher time frame analysis suggested. Now, because I am a volume, price action, order flow guy, when I saw this low here being pushed, now again, I've trained my clients to recognize these ultra high volume candles, okay? Why? Because when you see that red dot, you need to be aware that something abnormal compared to the prior handful of bars is transpiring. I want you to notice this candle does not successfully close at the low. No, it didn't close above the 50% level. But we immediately started reversing. Well, what would that tell me if I was in a trade and I'm 7 ticks short of my profit target, my next profit target, right? I've already taken profit a whole bunch of times because we impulsed, we corrected, we respected that area that we broke down from beautifully, and then the market sold off again. But I'm 7 ticks short of my next higher time frame expectation. I see this massive volume bar on the bottom here print, and I see the very next candle start to reverse off of this low. That tells me and my clients, because I've trained them very specifically through experience, time invested in front of a screen, monitoring these markets live, that there's a good chance a reversal may transpire. That reversal may be as little as a correction followed by continuation, or much like this high, it could play a very vital role in maybe setting the low of the session, just like this high set the high of the session. Well, that's exactly what happened. You can see we recovered once again back up to this level where we found resistance, and then the balance of the day just kind of faded in between this prior low here that we broke down from, which is now an area where highs are being respected, and this ultra high volume. You can see later in the day, just as we go into the close of the session here, we saw it again, and we had a hard time there. We could not close below that wick, and then we started walking our way back up again. So I share these videos with the insights, with the analysis, with the interpretation, with the expectations, with the way I personally traded. And I do that so that you guys get kind of a feel for who I am, what I offer, how I deliver it, because it's important that you are ready and willing to make the commitment, right? It's a commitment of time. Again, like I said, I have clients in a very short period of time, never traded a day before in their life, very profitable. In a very short period of time, they've actually, they have literally seen 100% returns on their accounts. I have other traders that have been doing this for years that cannot seem to find consistency. Okay? All I can tell you is based on the evidence the market provides me at any given point in time, knowing that that evidence may change based on volume, price action, and order flow, I can deliver to you through my experience, analysis, interpretation, and expectation. If that is beneficial to you and you are trading live the NASDAQ, the S&P, crude oil, or gold, coming to work with me would probably benefit your learning curve to hopefully speed it up for you, okay? But you have to be committed. You have to be dedicated. You have to say, I'm going to carve out a couple hours on the mornings that I'm able to attend. I trade live every day, okay? This is not like once a week and I'll see you next week. It's every single morning, okay? Because I know the only way to be successful is to invest the time. If you're going to do this part-time, if you're going to just watch the screen while you're entertained at your job or school or class or whatever, guys, the fact of the matter is you're not going to find any success here, okay? It takes, if you can carve 3 hours out, however many days a week you're able to, from 8 to 11, and you're ready and willing to build experience, and you may not be trading live yet, you may be paper trading, still kind of sharpening the pencil on your trade plan. You may still be kind of getting into the groove of how do I get to that consistency before I go live, and that's fine. I'm also a big advocate. If you can't, if you're not consistently profitable, which most traders are not, and you're trying to build that confidence to get there, I am a huge advocate of take a paper account, all right, with the realistic amount of money you're going to deposit into your brokerage account, and trade with the exact same size you plan to trade with, and double that account before you ever trade live. Because once you trade live, you're going to now, the psychological and the emotional components of trading are going to be extraordinarily heightened. But if you have already built good habits, you'll be able to take those emotional and psychological challenges and bring them down. Because you go, oh, I've done this before. I know how to do this. I know how to handle this. I've been in this situation. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Right? You build experience. It's like riding a bicycle, swinging a golf club, hitting a baseball. I don't care what it is. Trading is no different. The problem with trading is there's a perception on the internet that this is the easiest thing you'll ever do. You'll see Lamborghinis and yachts and all this other stuff, when the reality is, guys, they're making all their money selling you stuff, right? They sell you the dream. I've been in this business for a long time, okay? I've worked for a lot of different people, right? I've consulted, I've built products with and sold products with a lot of companies, okay? The fact of the matter is they're selling you a dream. They're not selling you reality. And my goal is to set a different standard. I want to sell you the reality, because the reality doesn't require a sales pitch. The reality is it's hard work. Okay? It's studying. It's discipline. It's consistency. It's tuning out all the noise and focusing on exactly what you're doing, when, where, and why. Okay? It's about honing a trade plan, honing the skill set, understanding how to analyze the market, implementing the order flow, understanding how volume and price action interact with one another, okay? Understanding that a clean chart is the best chart. If you look at my chart, and I will take the drawings away, when I come to the market in the morning, what you see is what I have. That's it, okay? There is, the doodling is just me putting my analysis on the chart. That's what I look at, right there, what you see on your screen. That's it. What's there? Volume and price action. 2 VWAPs. Session VWAP and the 4-hour VWAP. That's the only thing that I trade with on my screen. Now, do I have a reference chart that does allow me other components to look at? Of course. Everybody should. The reference chart is what I share with my clients because I encourage them to trade on a clean chart as well. Less is more. The reference chart is for exactly what it's called, reference. That's it. So, I know this was a little bit of a long-winded video, but I've had people make silly comments to me like, oh, it looks like magic on YouTube. It's not magic, okay? You go stand next to Tiger Woods or Phil Mickelson, excuse me. My apologies for not pronouncing his name properly. And you watch their golf swing. And then you take a golf club and you try to do the exact same golf swing. I can assure you, you're not going to. At least not consistently. At least not with discipline. Why? Because they've swung that golf club 100,000 times more than you have. So there is no magic. There is no smoke and mirrors. Okay? Trading's difficult. Trading's hard. It takes genuine dedication and focus to do this. Plan on investing a few years before you start seeing any consistent profitability. That's it. That's how it's done, right? This industry is the single industry that there is an unlimited amount of money to be earned. If you think that's going to come easy, or you think some indicator or piece of software is going to do it for you, it's not. If it was that easy, everybody would do it. But everybody sells that. Why? Because that's what sells. Right? It's sexy. Oh, just do what this says and you'll make money. You won't. Trust me. You'll lose more than you'll ever make. I guarantee it. Right? I'll take that. You could take that statement to the bank because there won't be anything left. But the fact of the matter is, if you're willing to invest the time to become the very best that you can be as a trader and build that person inside and out of you, again, there's unlimited money to be had. With that statement being made, look at the best athletes, the highest paid attorneys, the highest paid CPAs, the highest paid doctors. Just sit back and look at the education that they've consumed, the tens of thousands of hours they put into their career, right? And the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of education that they put in. If you want to play at that level and learn a skill set that can take you there, and you for 1 minute don't think that you're not going to make the same sacrifices they have, you're sorely mistaken. Right? I may not get one new subscriber out of this video, and I'm okay with that. Because I spoke the truth. And that, to me, is worth more than anything. Why do my clients who come to me stay with me? Because I speak the truth. Right? They're here for the long haul. Because they recognize that acquiring this skill set is a total game changer for their life. Just like any of the highest paying careers that are out there, including the highest paid athletes. Right? I equate trading to golf. I play golf. Okay? Right? Every swing is going to be different. Every lie of the ball is going to be different. Every angle is going to be different. Every line on the green is going to be different. You will never take two of the exact same golf swings and shots throughout your entire golfing career. You will never take two of the exact same trades that do the exact same thing ever throughout your trading career. These are things you need to understand, right? How you get good is through experience. Experience tells me the lie of the ball, the shot I need to make, how much club speed do I need, where do I want to land on the green. Just like in trading, where am I finding the absorption, where am I finding the imbalance, where am I finding the volatility, where am I seeing the surge in volume. All these things play aspects. And it comes through dedicated experience to even acknowledge these things exist, let alone build into understanding exactly how they play a role within each trade you're going to take. Again, no different than playing golf. I equate them very similarly in the way that there are so many variables to each and every trade, just like there's so many variables to each and every lie of the ball, right? To get from where you are, where you want the ball to go, get from your trade where you enter it to where you desire it to go. Lots of variables, lots of things can always go wrong. But through experience, you're able to make the highest level of decision based on the evidence the market's providing you through the consistency and discipline of the trader you've become. Those are my clients. Those are the people that come to work with me. They've bought all the other pizzazz on the internet and realized that they've squandered tens of thousands of dollars on stuff that's never going to work for them. It may work intermittently, but it will never work consistently. That is what it is. Again, am I unpopular for saying these things? Of course I am. Am I going to make less sales than if I tried to sell you some line of garbage? Of course. But I don't care. I don't care. My clients that come are the clients that are serious and the clients that stay. The people that don't come, I don't want their money, nor do I want to give them my time. And I'm totally okay with that. And that's the difference between the business I run and 99% of the stuff on the internet, right? You join a Discord and someone goes, well, this is my trade plan. Okay. Trade plans change very quickly when you're monitoring price action, volume, and order flow, because those things are changing every single second. Just like the low here, my anticipation on the higher time frame analysis was to push into 76.60. Well, we didn't. And I would have known that based on this high volume candle and ultra high volume radar dot and the way that the next bar reacted. Same thing here. We were looking for a few ticks higher, 3 ticks higher, but looking at the order flow, I knew there was a good chance, and the 3-minute chart, that there was a good chance that we were not going to push any higher. Right? You can't just take blind analysis and go, okay, we're going to work off this, because too many variables change in between the entry and the entire analysis being fulfilled. Yes, we can provide expectations, but as those expectations are being met or on the way to them potentially even being met, things can change. And I'm here to help you recognize those things. Because without an understanding of the fact that they even exist and that they will continue to change every single second that the market is open, you lack the understanding of actually what's transpiring and what you're trying to take part in. So again, I know this was long-winded. When people send me messages, it looks like magic on YouTube. It's not magic, okay? That's the total misconception, okay? And I never tell anybody it's magic, because it's not. My client is the middle-aged, financially secure individual that is willing to put the time, effort, and energy in becoming the best trader that they're able to become. If you're looking for entertainment, this is not your spot, right? If you're looking for weak commitment, this is also not your spot. If you're looking to get rich quick, this is not your spot. So I just want to clear those things up. I hope you guys have a wonderful and blessed weekend. I'll see you in the next video, and God bless, guys. Thanks again for being here.